Oh, yeah. Hi, creative friends. This is Kathy from Easy Sunday Club. In today's video, we're going to talk about niching, or niching. You've probably heard from 2 dozen different business gurus that everyone needs to niche when you're starting a business. But what does that mean for artists? How does that turn to like actual practical steps? I know as creatives, we hate being over restricted. We want to use our full creative license and experiment and follow our curiosity and make things that we're passionate about. But let me ask you a direct question. Like, are you serious about your art? As in, do you seriously want to turn it into a business? Because a business requires you to provide value to customers in exchange for money. What I'm saying is, niching will help you create a value to the right customers faster than if you don't niche. Sure, you don't have to. You can try different mediums or subjects and products until something clicks, and then you can niche from there. But I'm telling you, it's really going to help your business grow faster than if you don't. I've come up with my own framework on how to create a niche, at least for creatives. And I will use myself and my business as an example. It's called a 3-step so what process. And it basically looks like this. I start from the top line, which is a very general description of what I do. I create loose style watercolor art. So that already kind of narrows me down to a niche in a way because, there are, I'm sure, millions of watercolor artists out there, and only a subsegment of that paint in that loose watercolor painting style that I do. But so what? What makes me special and what's going to make someone come to me versus all the other ones? The second level is I create loose watercolor art of animals. This was a strategy that I used when I started my business in 2016. Sure, I would have loved to paint everything that I was inspired by, but I knew how important it was to commit to a smaller market within the larger infinite world of watercolor art. So, and because I love animals and especially wildlife animals, I committed to creating collections around wildlife animals. So, even from there, I've created collections with specific niche within that. I created a marine animal collection. I created woodland animals, safari animals. But so what, right? There are still so many watercolor animal artists out there. And if I want to capture the attention of my target customer right away, I need to niche down even further. So this is the third tier. And after asking the second so what question, I'm going to further expand on that sentence. So I create loose watercolor art of animals for modern nurseries and kids' room. I would even take it one step further, is that I create them for gender neutral room or themed nurseries. What I've learned from just putting my work out there over and over again is that a lot of parents decorate their kids' rooms based on a theme, especially baby rooms. So there's safari themed nurseries, there's woodland themed nurseries, and I would try to group my art based on those type of groupings. And that's helped me find my own market and my own niche. So I hope that 3-step process helps you. I can give another example. Niching applies for greeting cards as well. So the example is, let's say you really like dressing up in 80s inspired outfits like my husband does, and you want to make greeting cards around those themes, right? So the first top line is I create 80s inspired greeting cards. So what? I create 80s inspired greeting cards with puns. That already limits it down to by a lot, right? Because you could design greeting cards based on puns from like popular sayings in the 80s. And one click down from that is I create 80s themed greeting cards with puns for millennial parents. If you're into 80s, you're probably born in the 80s or maybe 70s. But let's say you're 80s, you're probably a millennial now, around our age, in your 30s. A lot of them were parents, a lot of them are not, and you can choose who you want to speak to. Actually, when I think about this is a pretty cool theme. Like, I haven't seen anyone making cards around this topic. I might have to do an Etsy search on it, but like, that's another example of something you can niche down. And the final thing I want to say is picking a niche now is not signing up for a life prison sentence. You're not committed to making this work around this niche forever or not even for 10 years. I've been making wildlife, animal watercolor art for the first 4 years of my business. It's only until this year I started branching out. And due to COVID, I really wanted a fresh perspective on things. I was dealing with anxiety and like the stress of and the fear of my business closing down like a lot of other small businesses. So I wanted to bring up that feeling of like beginner's mind and just being able to like explore something new again. So I started painting in landscape. I didn't start branching out till year four and a half, and I made my first collection of watercolor landscape paintings, which I made into a calendar for 2021, and it sold really well. I haven't even released art prints and paintings yet, but just the calendar alone was selling quite well because I've already established trust with my current customer, and they know that they can rely on me to deliver high quality products. And, just because they came to me for animals initially, as they've watched me grow over the years, they want to support my work and my own exploration as well. But that type of support come more easily when you already have the track record, right? So I hope that I give you a sense of relief about niching in case you're worried about picking the wrong niche or something. You can always give it a try. I would suggest you committing to it for at least a year. But like I said, there's no magic number on like how long you need to niche for. And finally, so after doing that exercise, you might have a few good ideas of which direction you want to go. And I'll just give you a final quick tip on how you can and how validate if your niche is a viable one. Go on Etsy. I like Etsy because people are already selling things there, and you get a lot of data from other sellers. Type in your niche. So for mine is Fox watercolor art for nursery. Type it in, and you look at what the market is like right now. So if I remember correctly, nursery watercolor art is super crowded on Etsy, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. That means in a saturated market, that means that there's enough demand that all these sellers are coming on and they're able to make sales. How do you know they're making sales? You can look at some of the stores and see how many sales and how many reviews they have. And then look in the reviews and see what people are saying. And that will give you some more ideas about what type of art to create in that niche. Please don't copy these sellers' products. Please don't. I am not encouraging that at all. I'm saying to use these platforms as research and to validate your idea, but you have to find your own artistic voice, right? Finding a niche doesn't mean that you already know what your artistic voice is. That's a separate issue, but that's something that I would do today if I were to start over with a new niche. Let me know what other questions you have. I'm thinking about doing another video on how to find your target customers once you identify a niche. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Give me the thumb up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye.